Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania just kicked off Phase 5 in the best way possible. We just saw the craziest MCU scenes with the introduction of the Council of Kangs, and there are so many Kangs to Kang-splain.
How many of you are there?
As many as are needed!
The stakes for the multiverse saga are clear now. The Kangs are assembling a multiversal army against the Avengers. There's also that shocking ending with Kang the Conqueror, who may or may not be dead. But who are we kidding? He will probably return, and we have an idea on how Kang is still alive. And finally, we gotta talk about that Loki Season 2 tease and who is the mustache Kang variant. And of course, how does all this set up an Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars?
I'm an Avenger.
Have I killed you before?
What?
They all blur together after a while.
Alright, so let's get straight into it and break down the insane mid-credits scene. And it's insane because I never would have imagined that Marvel would full-on recreate this panel from Avengers 292. And somehow they pulled it off.
Oh my god, Emma pulled you off.
So we see what looks like a giant coliseum filled with countless versions of Kang. There are Kangs of all shapes and sizes. Some are human, others are alien. There's so much stuff for us to go over in our Easter egg video.
Yeah, but what's the deal with all of these Kangs?
So this is the Council of Kangs from the comics. They are a multiversal alliance of many versions of Kang from different universes. This is also the case in the MCU. The council is filled with countless Kang variants.
So what's a variant?
Well, variants are alternate versions of someone from other universes.
If you think I'm evil, just wait till you meet my variants.
And these Kangs are the ones who are pulling the multiversal strings. So there are many variants in this scene, but 3 of them stand out. They seem to be the leaders of the council. There's an older looking variant and he looks like Immortus from the comics. Now Immortus is a version of Kang from the very far future who's always manipulating everyone. He's always fighting with his younger self, who is Kang the Conqueror. Also, Immortus was secretly behind the Council of Kangs in the comics. He manipulated Prime Kang to form the council to wipe out all of his variants.
Prime Kang? Optimus Prime's in the MCU now too? That'd be so fun. I love Optimus Prime.
No, man, I mean, by Prime Kang, I mean the original Kang the Conqueror. All right, now before we go on...
Sigh.
All right, what is it?
Oh, nothing. I'm fine.
No, you're depressed. I can see right through you.
You can?
Yes.
Well, I'm depressed because I'm losing my hair.
What, buddy? Don't be sad about losing your hair. You're wasting time. You should start using Keeps. They're the sponsor of this video. You guys won't believe how many people start losing their hair, but then they put off doing something about it. There's actually a history of hair loss in my family, so when my hair started to thin, I did not waste any time. Treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months or more to see results, so it is vital that you act fast. And guys, you gotta start early and stick with it. So believe me, if your hair's starting to thin, don't put this off or hope it goes away. Make it your resolution to start using Keeps now. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. It's even proven to work on MODOK's scalp.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Keeps stopped my hair loss right in its tracks, and they have more 5-star reviews than any of their competitors, and that is why hundreds of thousands of men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention medication. So guys, if you're noticing that you're losing your hair, don't ignore it or hope it goes away. Do something about it, because hair loss stops with Keeps. So to get a special offer, go to keeps.com/ScreenCrush or click our link in the description. That's keeps.com/ScreenCrush. Anyways, then there's the Pharaoh-looking variant. This one is Rama Tut. So in the comics, he was the first persona that Kang adopted. Before becoming Kang, he was Nathaniel Richards, a scientist from the 30th century who discovered time travel technology. He traveled back to ancient Egypt and became the Pharaoh Rama Tut.
For bloody Pharaoh.
Now, this isn't the first time we saw Rama Tut in the MCU. He was also teased in Moon Knight. The third variant doesn't actually resemble any Kang from the comics. He sort of looks like RoboCop without a helmet, and his armor reminds me of Superman's suit from the canceled Tim Burton Superman Lives movie. Now, it seems like this variant really hates Kang because Rama Tut says that it must really eat him up that he wasn't the one who killed Kang. Also, there's some animosity between this variant and Rama Tut. So this variant could be the Scarlet Centurion, though he doesn't actually look that much like him at all.
You look exactly alike.
One's blue!
Now, he might not look like the Scarlet Centurion, but I do believe he's meant to be him, and here's why. In the comics, Kang has 3 other major personas: Rama Tut, Immortus, and the Scarlet Centurion. So it will mean that the 3 leaders of this council are these 3 variants.
Well, who's Scarlet Centurion guy?
Alright, so in the comics, Kang became the Scarlet Centurion after he was defeated by the Fantastic Four as Rama Tut. And hold up, that could mean that we might see the Fantastic Four fight Rama Tut in their movie. Now that would be wild.
This is wild.
Anyways, the Fantastic Four kicked Rama Tut out of ancient Egypt, and he ended up here in the present day. So he ditched the Pharaoh persona and got a new one, inspired by Doctor Doom, and becoming the Scarlet Centurion. I should also mention that Kang's son Marcus became the Scarlet Centurion in the Kang Dynasty storyline. There are two other versions of Kang in the comics, and those are Iron Lad and Kid Immortus. Both are younger versions of Kang, but I don't think it's either of them since this variant is the same age as Kang. Now, there are two other important Kang variants who are missing from this scene. The one that appears in the post-credits scene, and that is Victor Timely, and He Who Remains, the Kang variant that appeared in Loki, but more on them later.
And what are you so afraid of?
Me.
But how could there be so many Kangs?
Well, it all goes back to the rules that were established in Endgame. Whenever someone travels through time, they create a new branching timeline. This is why there's no way to change the past. By going back in time, you enter a new timeline that you just created. Now, timelines are basically the same as separate universes. That's how we get the multiverse. This is a multiversal dynasty. Every one of them began with Nathaniel Richards. Each Kang birthed a new version of himself with every branching timeline, meaning that the Council of Kangs is the Kang Dynasty, which also happens to be the title of Avengers 5. The credits scene doesn't really give us much information to go off, but it seems like the Council is ruling the multiverse. Or at the very least, they're manipulating the multiverse. They seem to have access to every universe from this place where the Council is located, and they're able to observe the multiverse from this place just like He Who Remains and Loki. More on him later. So in the comics, the Council's HQ is inside a realm outside of time called Limbo.
Limbo. Everybody limbo.
It's a pocket universe that Immortus rules. The significance of Limbo is that most time travel is done through this timeless realm. Now this is interesting because in the MCU, the quantum realm is used for time travel in the same way. Anyway, the multiverse is the Kang variant's domain and the Avengers are messing with it.
Stay out of my territory.
Immortus says that the heroes are putting everything they built at risk. This is because others are discovering the multiverse, and they will ultimately take everything from the Kang variants. On top of that, the Ant Squad has killed the exiled Kang, and it's not the first time the Earth 616 heroes interfered with the multiverse. Spider-Man and Doctor Strange created a multiversal incident with their memory spell, and then Wanda went on a multiversal rampage. And don't forget, Steven triggered an incursion, the same as his variants.
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide, destroying one or both entirely.
And considering what Wanda did, she probably triggered a few incursions as well. Not to mention all the multiversal incidents in What If. Infinity Ultron almost destroyed the whole thing. So this is why the leaders are worried that the heroes will undermine and ruin their rule of the universe. They might want to prohibit everyone else from using and even knowing about the multiverse. So no one else gets to play with their toys. The credit scene ends with the leaders rallying the other Kang variants against the heroes of Earth 616. And this sets up the conflict for Avengers Kang Dynasty, where the Council of Kangs will invade Earth 616 and battle the Avengers. Now ironically, this makes the Kang variants complete hypocrites considering what Kang revealed about them. According to Kang, it is his variants that pose the biggest threat to the multiverse.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Kang witnessed that the multiverse is dying. He refers to his variants as children who play with time without considering the consequences. By playing with time, Kang means that his other variants keep using time travel to create branching timelines. This began destabilizing reality and triggering incursions. So the incursions will play a factor going into Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, which makes sense because that's what happened in the second version of Marvel Comics Secret Wars. Kang explains that he started a war to erase all of his variants because it's the only way to stop them from messing with reality and thus to prevent the multiverse from dying. But he lost the war, he was defeated and imprisoned inside the quantum realm.
They betrayed me, they didn't keep their promise, they tricked me, and I don't care anymore.
Now, assuming Kang was telling the truth, of course. Now, this has some biblical symbolism right here, sort of depicting Lucifer's fall from heaven. The Council of Kangs, being the gods and angels of the story, banished Kang, being the devil, to hell, which is represented by the quantum realm. Only in this case, they're all devils.
But why is the quantum realm a Kang jail?
Well, because the quantum realm is in its own separate universe, a reality that exists outside time and space. Somehow, in every Ant-Man movie, someone gets trapped in that tiny universe. There might be some point of no return boundary in this specific area that prevented Kang from leaving, along with anyone else who's in there. Now think of it like a black hole. Scott has always been teetering around Kang's prison edges. This is why he was able to exit the QR previously. Now there is a certain threshold in the realm where matter cannot escape without some special device, like Kang's multiversal traveling chair.
But why didn't they just kill Kang?
Well, the movie doesn't actually explain why they kept him alive. The variants might simply didn't want to kill one of their own, so they imprisoned him. And that's why they're so mad at the heroes for killing one of them. But the best explanation, in my opinion, is that Kang was simply way too powerful to be killed. This would make Kang way scarier as a villain. The idea that it took an army of variants just to beat him, I mean, what chance do the Avengers have? Well, it turns out not much of a chance, because Kang killed the Avengers before, like a lot.
I'm an Avenger. Have I killed you before?
What?
They all blur together after a while.
He's been conquering so many universes and killing so many heroes that when meeting Scott, he asks him if he's the one with the hammer. It says a lot about Kang's murder streak that he confuses Ant-Man with Thor. I guess you could say that Kang is going to change the hierarchy of power in the MCU.
Yeah, well, but he's dead.
Yeah, right. R.I.P. Kang.
You can't kill me,
Language.
In the big battle at the end of the movie, Kang gets sucked into a quantum portal, and Scott shoots him with Pym particles a bunch just to make sure he's really dead. But I don't think Kang is actually dead. He's gonna return. Somehow.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
I mean, it wasn't like he got thrown into an exploding reactor shaft. He was kicked into a portal that is connected to the multiverse. For all we know, Kang was transported outside the quantum realm, and now he's either on Earth 616 or some other universe. When Scott interacted with the drive of Kang's chair, he began splitting into countless versions of himself. The same thing happened to Hope. So this might have been a hint for Kang's survival. I mean, he is Kang the Conqueror.
I am Kang!
It's going to be really strange if they kill Kang after they just introduced him. Sure, the credits scene sets up the Council of Kangs so they could fill in the big baddies of the saga spot, but the truth is that the Council of Kangs never had a significant role in the comics. At best, they're Kang's lackeys. They don't even appear in Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars. It's always been about Kang the Conqueror, and you can't do Kang Dynasty without, Kang. Now, I know it's a whole wide multiverse out there. There are an infinite number of Kangs, so maybe Marvel can introduce another Kang. But I see no reason for that. There's really no reason to overcomplicate this. You already have an interesting Kang. He's a menacing villain. He's got a very compelling motivation. He wants to save the multiverse. He's in direct conflict with the Council of Kangs.
I will take my revenge on those who banished me.
And I will burn them out of time.
But at the same time, he wants to conquer the whole multiverse, so he's also in direct conflict with the Avengers. And he's also pretty mad at Janet for trapping him in the quantum realm as well. The two of them worked together on escaping the QR, but when Janet discovered who Kang really was, she destroyed his multiversal traveling machine. As payback, Kang promised to conquer Janet's universe, that's Earth 616. So he has a personal connection to Ant-Man, Wasp, and the rest of the Ant fam. All Marvel needs to do is figure out a good way to bring him back, and they could potentially have an incredible villain.
Yeah, but I mean, he lost to Ant-Man.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I mean, Kang losing to Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's a really bad look for the guy who's supposed to be the biggest baddie in the multiverse. Now, not dissing Ant-Man, because the whole Ant squad was really great in this movie. And to be fair, he was considerably underpowered in the movie. He clearly utilized his ability to manipulate time to kill all those Avengers, something he can't do inside a realm where time is irrelevant. Under all this tech, Kang really is just a regular man. He has no powers.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
I'm Batman.
Now, villains do need to be menacing. They don't have to win every fight, but their mere presence needs to put the heroes at risk. Otherwise, you get Ultron, a villain that got his ass kicked in every single fight against the Avengers. Now, that being said, there is a way to bring Kang back and redeem his loss. Think about it. What if everything that went down was part of his plan? If he escaped the quantum realm, then his variants would know he was free, so they would have hunted him down throughout the multiverse. At the end of the movie, he lost his timeshare, his robot army, and most of his tech and weapons. He was far from ready for a multiversal battle with his variants. So instead, Kang fakes his death so his variants believe that he's truly gone. No one is going to hunt him down, and he's free to prepare for the multiversal war without anybody knowing he's alive. In fact, I could see Kang infiltrating the Dynasty. Maybe he kills one of his variants and replaces him, Trojan horse style, and then he manipulates them from the inside or just kills them all while their guard is down. Something like this did happen in the comics. Twice. The first one debuted in Avengers 267, and just like in the MCU, it's a council of Kangs from different universes. The second iteration was the Council of Cross-Time Kangs, and that's the version that appeared in Avengers 292.
Yeah, so what's the difference?
Well, the second council is not comprised of Kang variants. They are humans, aliens, and other beings that took on the Kang persona after killing the Kangs of their universes. But in truth, they were manipulated by Prime Kang. The Kangs they killed were robots that he created. Both councils were deceived and eventually eliminated by Kang. In fact, this is what might actually be happening in this credits scene. Kang already replaced one of the three leaders and started manipulating them to fight the Avengers from different universes. So in Kang Dynasty, the heroes and the Kang variants will be busy fighting each other, and this is when Kang will start killing everyone. If Kang kills all his variants and wipes out their universes, then he saves the multiverse. In the words of the Highlander,
there can be only one.
Why's that?
Well, because the whole deal with Highlanders is they walk around cutting each other's heads off till there's only one left.
No, I know that. I'm talking, what about in this movie?
Because it's the only way to prevent the multiverse from dying, at least according to Kang. And don't forget about the incursions. Messing around with the multiverse can trigger incursions, so this war might actually lead to reality collapsing, just like in the comics version of Secret Wars. But here's the thing, we already know how the multiversal war is going to end.
What?
At the end of Loki Season 1, we met another important Kang variant called He Who Remains. He spoke about a multiversal war that involved his variants, a war that almost ended reality. He ended the war and killed off all of his variants with a multiversal beast called Eliath. This is exactly how Kang defeated the Council of Crosstime Kangs. He unleashed Eliath to kill them all.
Coincidence? I think not!
After winning the war, He Who Remains created the Sacred Timeline, a universe that he ruled and protected. He then created the Time Variance Authority, TVA for short, to enforce the Sacred Timeline and erase any variant to prevent branching the timeline. Now, according to He Who Remains, some of the variants created a multiversal alliance, just like the Council of Kangs, while other variants wanted to conquer the universe, meaning Kang. At the end of Loki, He Who Remains dies. A Loki variant called Sylvie killed him. With his death, the Sacred Timeline began branching into new universes, and that is how his variants returned. From our and their point of view, they always existed because of how time works. And according to He Who Remains, he's going to be reborn at some point, and everything that happened will repeat itself.
An infinite amount of me start another multiversal war, and I just end up right back here anyways.
Now, considering his importance, it's very strange that there's no mention of him in this movie. Now, there is a quick glimpse of a variant that looks like He Who Remains, but this scene is filled with so many variants that also look like Kang that it's impossible to tell if any of these are actually He Who Remains. But you see, there are many fascinating parallels between He Who Remains and Kang. They are both variants who are working against the Council of Kangs. They both want to save the multiverse from their variants. All of Kang's plans were already achieved by He Who Remains. Can you guess where I'm going with this?
Drum roll, please.
Kang and He Who Remains are the same person.
What?
Not diverging variants who originate from the same guy, but actually the same guy. He Who Remains is who Kang is destined to become.
You just blew my mind.
Now, this is a wild theory, so we're going to dedicate an entire video breaking it down, so be sure to subscribe and not miss it.
I want to get a closer look at this.
Anyways, let's break down that second credit scene of Quantumania. This scene seems to be taken directly from Loki Season 2. Sort of like the credit scene of Ant-Man was the scene from Captain America Civil War. Loki and Mobius are watching yet another Kang variant who's talking about time, and he's presenting some kind of machine, probably a time machine. Now that makes sense because all the Kangs are time travelers and Loki is a show dealing with time. The mustache and the sign confirm that this variant is Victor Timely. He's a lesser known divergent version of Kang who has a short run in the comics. So this version of Kang was humiliated by the Avengers, so he hung up his supervillain cape and skedaddled to the early 1900s. He became Victor Timely, a rich inventor from Timely, Wisconsin, who founded a robotic corporation that shaped the century. He later posed as his own son and grandson, and you know what, that's it for the most part.
So wait, what's he doing in Loki?
Well, the scene doesn't reveal too much, but Timely is talking about time, how time shapes our lives, and maybe how there is a way for us to shape time. So this could mean that this variant is trying to create some kind of time machine that can actually reshape the past instead of creating alternate timelines. But this is a great tease for the show Loki because we see that Loki is terrified of Kang, and he's managed to convince Mobius that he's a big danger and the two of them have to work together to stop him. Except in this scene, Victor Timely doesn't seem like that big of a threat at all, so Mobius is not convinced. Now there's probably more to it to that. We will dive deeper into it once a new Loki trailer drops.
Hey man, thanks for the advice. I used Keeps and now I got my hair back.
Hey, you're welcome. And just a reminder to stop your hair loss today, click our link in the description for a special offer from Keeps. So guys, let me know what you think of all this down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.